For over a century, the Hellenistic world was defined by the undisputed military supremacy of a single, highly engineered system of war. That system was perfected by Alexander the Great. Long after his death, his surviving generals carved up his vast empire and continued to rule the East, relying entirely on the exact same military innovation that made Alexander a legend. This diagram shows the core mechanic of the Macedonian Phalanx. It was a tightly packed, forward-facing block of men, bristling with 20-foot spears. By design, it acted as an unstoppable, rigid wall, crushing anything directly in front. Across the Mediterranean, the Roman Republic was in no condition to challenge this eastern behemoth. Rome had just survived the grueling war against Carthage. The Republic was bleeding, financially drained, and its citizens were entirely exhausted. Yet, despite this extreme vulnerability, the adaptable forces of Rome were about to collide head-on with the rigid momentum of the Macedonian Empire. The spark ignited in the Aegean Sea. King Philip V of Macedon noticed a momentary power vacuum among the neighboring kingdoms and immediately began aggressively expanding his borders into Asia Minor and the Greek states. As his forces advanced, smaller Greek states like Pergamon and Rhodes panicked. Recognizing they couldn't repel the Macedonian phalanx alone, they sent urgent diplomats to Rome, pleading for military intervention. The Roman assembly firmly rejected the plea. After decades of costly fighting, the average Roman citizen had zero interest in funding another overseas war, especially one that didn't immediately threaten their own borders. To force their hand, a Roman consul named Galba addressed the assembly. He bypassed standard geopolitical arguments and simply compared Philip's growing strength to the one man who still haunted Roman nightmares, Hannibal. The mere suggestion of another foreign invader marching elephants across Italy was enough to spark widespread panic. The psychological fear of an existential threat completely overrode their exhaustion, putting the two military superpowers on a direct path to war. Before the armies met on the field, Rome tried to dictate the terms of the conflict. They sent a highly strategic commander named Flamininus into Greece to manage the confrontation. Flamininus possessed a unique political asset. He spoke fluent Greek. Instead of marching in as a foreign conqueror, he carefully branded Rome as the protector and liberator of Greek freedom, rapidly winning the support of local city-states. King Philip V took the exact opposite approach. He relied on brute intimidation, demanding compromises while stubbornly refusing to give up any of his heavily fortified positions in Greece. Recognizing Philip's rigidity, Flamininus set a diplomatic trap. He demanded that Philip pay reparations to every Greek city he had harmed and completely surrender all of his Hellenic territories. It was an impossible demand, perfectly engineered to be rejected. Rome weaponized statecraft to manufacture a purely military showdown. By locking the inflexible Macedonian king into terms he couldn't accept, Flamininus ensured the dispute would be settled entirely in the mud. In mid-June of 197 BC, severe weather hit the region of Thessaly. Heavy rains churned the ground into deep mud, and thick fog rolled into the Cynoscephalae hills. As both massive armies marched through the rough terrain looking for supplies, visibility dropped to just a few meters. Neither commander knew where the other was until their scouting parties literally bumped into each other on a high ridge. A spontaneous, chaotic skirmish broke out in the mist, accidentally sucking thousands of reinforcements from both camps into an uncoordinated battle. Reacting to the noise on the hill, Philip rushed his right wing into the fight. He managed to drag half of his heavy phalanx up to the top of the ridge, rapidly forming them into their dense battle order. This cross-section diagram illustrates the devastating physics of Philip's attack. Pushing downhill, the sheer weight and downward momentum of the tightly packed Macedonian formation acted like a steamroller, cracking open the defensive lines and crushing the Roman heavy infantry below. This was the terrifying reality of the phalanx. As long as it was moving forward over steady ground, it generated a mechanical force that the Romans simply could not stop. As the morning sun finally burned through the fog, Flamininus spotted Philip's left wing struggling to crest the ridge. In their rush to join the fight, the Macedonians had been forced to break their dense, interlocking formation to navigate the uneven terrain, leaving them scattered and exposed. Flamininus instantly exploited this vulnerability. He ordered his war elephants to assault the slope. The beasts ripped right through the loose, disorganized Macedonian ranks, shattering their lines before they could even lower their spears. Even with the left flank secured, the Roman army faced total collapse on the right, where Philip's intact phalanx was methodically grinding its way down the hill. This animated diagram compares the two military structures. While the Macedonians fought as one monolithic block, the Roman legion was built on the maniple, a highly flexible checkerboard of smaller independent squares. These units could freely rotate, detach, and navigate around obstacles without breaking the integrity of the wider army. Seeing the Roman left flank collapsing, an unnamed Roman tribune utilized this exact flexibility. Without waiting for orders from Flamininus, he pulled 20 maniples out of his own victorious line, marched them completely around the ridge, and drove them straight into the undefended rear of Philip's phalanx. This split-second, battle-winning maneuver was a direct product of Roman military doctrine. The Republic rewarded agile, decentralized decision-making in the heat of combat, while the Macedonian machine demanded strict, rigid adherence to a single formation. Caught entirely by surprise from behind, the Macedonian bloc instantly fell apart. Unable to turn their massive 20-foot spears around in the tight formation, the trapped soldiers surrendered, resulting in a mass slaughter. By the time the dust settled, 8,000 Macedonians lay dead, with another 5,000 taken prisoner. King Philip V fled the field, but the absolute devastation of his army forced him into a humiliating surrender. Rome dictated the peace. Philip was ordered to abandon all of his territories in Greece, pay a crushing sum of 1,000 silver talents, and hand his own son over to the Roman Republic as a hostage. With a few strokes of a pen, Macedon went from being the dominant ruler of the known world to a heavily restricted Roman puppet state. Cynoscephalae demonstrated that the phalanx was no longer the undisputed master of the battlefield. By dismantling Philip's veterans, the Roman legion proved that a decentralized, adaptable military system could outmaneuver the rigid legacy of Alexander the Great.